In this video, we're looking at 5 signs of autism so you can identify an autism condition in somebody with ease. Coming right up. Hey, what's going on? I'm Dan. I have autism, OCD, ADHD, and dyslexia. I make weekly videos on autism, so consider subscribing to see more of these videos. We're going to be covering 5 signs of autism so you can remember what to look out for when looking for the condition, and also covering some symptoms that you may not realize that are actual autism traits. Hey everybody, happy new year. This is awesome. 2018 is upon us, which is super awesome because I'm really pumped to get this year started. I'm so eager to get all new content going, all new videos, and of course, all of you lovely subscribers. I hit 22,000 subscribers, which is amazing. So each and every one of you, I personally thank for this, which is amazing. Also, good news. Yesterday, my book got to #1 in the charts on Amazon for the bestseller. I'm a bestseller now, or an international bestselling author, which is crazy. Link to my book in the description below if you're interested. Like I said, we're going to be doing some new merch, which is going to be really helpful. There's going to be t-shirts with stuff to help people communicate with autism. I'm also making some e-downloads, so you guys can download some stuff like daily routine schedules and things like that to help people on the spectrum. It's going to be super pumped, and I'm ready for it. If you're ready for it, I'm ready for it. Make sure you subscribe to my mailing list. Link is in the description below, so you don't miss out on all these cool, exciting stuff that I've got coming up. You know the score. We read out one comment at the beginning of every single video, so here's that comment. This comment is from Take That Fan 2016, and they said, "Awesome video, smiley face. I relate to this. I get very anxious when I try to make eye contact with people, and I tend to blink a lot to try and relieve the anxiety." Eye contact is super difficult, and I know that, so thank you so much for the comment and the input to share with the community. If you'd like me to read out your comment, please make sure you hit that bell icon on desktop and mobile, because I'll be picking from the first 30 commenters to pick one of those at the beginning of every single video. Okay guys, on with the video. Side note, just to let you know, a lot of people have been asking me for one-on-one consultations about autism and Asperger's, so I have a link in the description below where you can book me for a one-on-one consultation, so please check that out. Okay, so 5 signs of autism. This is going to be a super swell video. So number 1 is repetitive behavior. So this video is aimed mainly at children, but repetitive behavior is not just in children, but in adults as well. And the idea is that the child or the person will have a repetitive behavior. So they may just play with one toy or just spin a wheel of a toy. You know, they could sit there just spinning a wheel, or they could just look at one thing for ages, or play with a fidget spinner and just stare at the fidget spinner for a while. And that is repetitive behavior at best. And this type of thing is soothing because it's soothing to the person with autism, because people with autism like repetitive familiarity, and things like wheels and things that spin and repetitive behaviors. They're kind of soothing to someone with autism, and that is super cool. But it's something to look out for, because if you notice this characteristic in a child or a person who you suspect have autism, this is a good indication that they may actually have the condition and it's just going undiagnosed. Number 2 is that the person may not smile much. So some children may not smile as much, and they may not have a good coping mechanism with their emotions. They may not show their emotions. They may not show when they're happy. They may not show when they're sad. You know, it could be their birthday and they're still like, you know, upset or miserable, or it looks like they're upset or miserable, but it's just because they cannot convey the information or the communication part of their brain, which has got this issue, which is because of the autism, where they can't really show their emotion well because it's communicating their emotion to their facial expressions, which is quite difficult for people on the autism spectrum. Number 3 is getting upset with minor changes. Now, a lot of people on the autism spectrum love routine. They love things, again, repetitive behavior. But when you are used to something like you get up, you have toast, you go to school, and you come home, or whatever you do, if there's a small change within that routine where there's no toast today, or you run out of butter, or the toast is slightly burnt, or somebody went into the bathroom before they could, and then there's this huge freak out where there's this moment of anxiety or complete confusion or just anger or just you know, pent up emotion, this is again triggered because of the upset in the routine. So autistic people like the routine, and they like everything to be familiar. They don't like a lot of changes. So even the smallest change can freak out somebody on the autism spectrum. Again, a good key indicator for looking out for somebody who has autism. Flapping hands, or like stimming as it's more professionally called, but a lot of people see kids doing this, or they'll be like just one hand, or they may rock their whole body. And stimming is a sort of self-soothing. It can happen at different times. It can happen when somebody gets excited, or it can happen when somebody's anxious about something. It's because the notion of the stim actually is repetitive, and that repetitiveness helps cool the brain down a little bit and helps soothe the person who's going through this, whatever it may be, whether it's a change or excitement or something that is heightening their emotion. It's a kind of way of controlling how the person feels, but it's also a good indicator to see that the person is reacting to the stimuli that's happening around them. But again, it's super common in people with autism, and is a good indicator again for looking out for somebody who may be on the autism spectrum. Okay, so number 5 is not really answering to their name, and a lot of people on the autism spectrum, when they're quite young, are diagnosed as being deaf, but they're not actually deaf. You know, they can hear perfectly well, but the problem is they don't respond to their name, and the reason they don't respond to their name is due to a few factors. Again, one is because they zone out, and this is the main factor. They'll zone out on something. So when somebody has an autism spectrum condition like Asperger's syndrome or autism or high functioning autism or low functioning autism or any type of spectrum disorder, they'll get super into something and they'll be zoned into that thing, and that may take their entire capacity for focus on just that one thing. So if you could be calling their name for hours and they'll just not hear you. And another thing is, because they're focusing on other things, they're not always aware that you be calling them by name. Again, it does take a little bit of time, and they will get used to having their name called. It's just initially that whole process does take a little bit longer, and it's a good indicator to see if somebody is on the autism spectrum. Okay, so here's a bonus one for you guys. This is number 6, and I thought I'd do this because, I don't know, I'm really cool. I'm gonna give you an extra bonus thing here. So number 6 is hypersensitive to taste, texture, smells, and sounds, and this is because people on the autism spectrum normally have a hyper or hyposensitive hypersensitivity or hyposensitivity to things like flashing lights or fluorescent lights or certain smells, certain textures, certain foods, and these things can really upset somebody. So like somebody on the autism spectrum may not like you know, wet foods with dry foods, and they may not like that combination mixed. They may get really freaked out over certain smells or certain foods, and they can't be in the room with certain foods, and it really makes them upset or angry. And this again is a communication part of the brain. It's a fantastic phenomenon within people with the autism spectrum, but it's a good indicator to look out for if you're suspicious of somebody on the autism spectrum. If you'd like to learn more about autism, please make sure you hit that subscribe button above here. To see my last video, it's over here, and here is a video that YouTube think you will like. I'll see you next time, guys. Peace.